me again. I am back for technically day 11 of our 12 days of Samhain. And so today we're going to be making a witch's ball. And so I've got a few things here that I'm going to go ahead and get put in and on, I guess. So I have this little plastic ball. It's actually one that was made for a plant, but I'm just going to use it for this, repurpose it. It already had a string on it, and so I'm like, well, I'll just use that. So the first thing that I am going to put in, should have moved that box. First thing I'm going to put in is a little bit of black sand that I have. Black is protective. It helps clear out negative energy. So I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom for the base. And just because I like 3, I will do 3 spoonfuls. Just kind of spreading that around. All right. And then, before I get adding too much stuff inside, I'm going to just tie a bow on it. And I'm going to stick with the same bow that I did. This is the one I did on the candle. Right here. That bow actually came out pretty decent. So I'm going to stick with the same bow. It's also the ribbon that we used for the broom. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm really not going to make a bow. I'm going to make them kind of different lengths. And then I'm just going to loop them through there if I can. I'm just going to tie it in a knot and just kind of let it sit like that. Different lengths. And I'll turn it around so you guys can see it after. I'll turn you guys around. So or hold it. Well, I don't know. Either way, I'll make sure you see it before we're done. All right. So the next 2 things I'm going to put in is a piece of quartz. So I'm going to stick that in there. Hopefully I can maybe get it to stand up a little bit, but I don't know. Probably not. And then a piece of black tourmaline. And again, this is a piece that my husband and I, we go rock hounding, and we, find our own gemstones. And, this one, it wasn't very pretty. It was kind of all broken up, but it still serves a purpose. It still does the job it's supposed to do. And, for protection bundles and spell jars and things like that, it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty because you're really not going to see it very much. But I'm going to tuck that right in there beside the quartz point. And then from there, what I'm going to do is add some herbs. So the first thing I'm going to add is some cedar berry. And like all the rest of the ones we've done this week, you can do it for protection. You can do it for calling something in. You can do it for abundance. You can do it for love. You can do a money one. There's so many different ones that you can do depending on what it is that you really want to call in. This is the witch ball we're going to use for the next year. So I have picked herbs that are basically dual purpose. I have picked one, actually 3. I've picked ones that are going to be protective, but I have picked ones that are going to help with anxiety because my brain goes 24/7 and never shuts off. And then I'm also going to go with ones that are going to help call in abundance of my gifts. So for example, the first one we're going to use is cedar berries, and it's purifying, so that's going to help get rid of any negative energies that we don't want. It's healing, and it's for prosperity. So I'm calling in that prosperity of my gift. So we're going to put just a couple of these in. Just toss them in there. Doesn't really matter. The next one I have is passion flower. And this one is for relaxing. It's going to help call in sweet dreams. And again, for abundance. It's also good for transformation. It's also good for empathy. And it's also good for heightened sex drive. So, but I'm using it for the relax and the abundance. So, again, trying to help ease anxiety and trying to call in abundance of my gifts. So again, just going to sprinkle a little bit in my hand and just kind of toss that in there. It's not going to be very pretty, but it doesn't really need to be. It's all stuck on my hand now. That's all right. The next one we have is elm bark, and it's for protection, it's for intuition, and it's for communication. So that's always a good one for me as well. It's also going to help with fertility. It's going to help with your cycles. It's going to help with love. And so anything really around that feminine aspect of it, it's going to help with that. So, but again, I picked it for the protection and the intuition. And I can never get these things open. And I'm just going to pull out a clump of that and throw it in there. Just kind of move it around a little bit. And then I have some eye bright. And this is going to help open our third eye. It's also going to help with divination and clarity. So it's really good for scrying as well. So if you do any kind of scrying, but it's also good for being cheerful. So that's going to help with that anxiety, and for gratitude. And again, I think that really is going to help with anxiety as well. When we find more things in our life to be grateful for, we don't tend to dwell so much on the not so good things. Now this one is a powder, so I'm actually going to just kind of pour it in the hole in the side here. Maybe it's either not going to come out or it's going to all come out. All right, got a little bit in there, and you can use as much or as little as you want. All right, so I've also got some meadowsweet, and this is for pan protection. So it's an all over protection from pretty much anything. It's considered like a blanket protection. It attracts sweet energy. It eases anxiety and depression. It's very sacred to the Druids, and it's also good for fertility, but I don't really, I guess I could be thinking of the fertility as in the growth of my gifts. So you could, you know, like I said, you can always kind of think outside the box a little bit. So we're going to just sprinkle a little bit of that in there. It smells pretty good. And the last one I've got is some mugwort. Mugwort's one of my favorites. I work with it a lot. You can see my envelope is almost gone, and I've actually bought a whole nother jar that's over on my tea counter, so I drink it as for a tea. It aids with sleep. It calms our nerves. It's great for visions. It's great for divination. It's great for depression. It's great for anxiety. It's great for us that are moving into our crone stage. It's also good for menopause. So again, that's moving into that crone stage. So lots of things in there that, you know, work for me. So I am going to actually put the whole rest of this in here. It's really not that much, but put that in there. And most of it is on my hand. All right, and so just gonna kind of move it around a little bit, mostly just because with all the herbs in there, I just kind of buried the berries, and I kind of want them to show a little bit. And I buried the black tourmaline a little bit, so I want that to show a little bit more. But it's nothing fancy, nothing spectacular. And so, I mean, you could certainly put some more in there. You could put other crystals or rocks in there. You could put little trinkets of things that, you know, if you're trying to call in love, maybe you want to put in a little heart trinket. For me, I could maybe put a pendulum in there. That might be something different to put in there, or trying to work on my divination and my gifts. So again, you can really put whatever you want in there. And then I hang this up for the year. And then next year at the same time, I will make a new one. So you can either empty this one out and reuse it, or you can buy a new ball and make a new one. I usually just try to reuse things as much as possible and not have make any more garbage than I need to. So that was it for my witch's ball. So I'm going to go hang that back up in my bedroom, and I will see you guys for day 12. Love you. Bye.